love cartoons, and we want others to share in our love of cartoons. So when you're planning a romantic evening, sometimes you can't help but think, I wish I could share my love of cartoons with my date. Well, fortunately, you can. A number of cartoons have done a really good job of presenting wonderful romance stories, and we've collected some of the best for a romantic date. My name is Tim, and today on Channel Frederator, we're counting down the top 10 date night cartoons. Before we get started, it's worth mentioning that these aren't in any particular order because different dates are gonna benefit from different cartoons. Number 1, Up. You might be thinking that this stands above any other possible candidate for a date night cartoon, and maybe you're right, except that while the intro is a masterwork in romance and loss, it's also the obvious choice. Everyone knows about the love story at the beginning of Up. It's a good choice, but it's also a very safe one at this point. You need to be daring. Any dime a dozen date can feature Up, but the truly memorable ones need to go above and beyond. That said, it's important to remember that the rest of Up is still a fun, enjoyable movie that works for just about anyone. Pop this movie in and you'll almost certainly get a positive reaction. This movie is the equivalent of pizza. It's always going to be decent, and it will never be a complete disaster, but it probably isn't going to be as exciting or memorable as you'd hope. That being said, not every date night needs to knock it out of the park, and for those nights, there's Up. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda cartoon. The Legend of Zelda cartoon has a reputation for being both a bad cartoon and a bad representation of beloved Nintendo characters. That reputation is mostly deserved. It's also not really romantic. Most of the interaction between Zelda and Link can be summed up in the catchphrase, "Excuse me, princess," and their other interactions aren't touching or heartfelt. So with all those faults, why should you watch this with your significant other? Because this is the perfect example of what not to be in a relationship. It's the exact antithesis of romance, and that's what makes it hilarious. You can celebrate how much better your relationship is by watching one of the worst ones. It's the basic premise behind reality television. This is the cartoon equivalent of taking and failing at a cooking class. What you end up with isn't good, but the fact that you experienced it together means you'll always have a fun story to tell. Also, just try and keep an angry face while watching Link fly on his shield using the force of an explosion. Can't be done. Number 3, 101 Dalmatians or The Aristocats, your date's choice. Here we have 2 Disney movies that feature animals being cute. So which one do you pick? Actually, you don't pick. You let your date pick. And then in true date fashion, you scrutinize their choice and make intense personal judgments about their character. That said, if you're a dog person, could you really live with a cat person? If that's something that matters to you, then the best advice is to be open and upfront about your expectations. Failing that though, you could always use these 2 movies as a stealth litmus test. It's the cartoon equivalent of letting your date pick a restaurant to go out to, and using that information to hold a secret, festering grudge related to a personality flaw you prescribe to them. It probably says more about you than them, but hey, cute dogs and cats. Number 4, Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold is a lighthearted comedy about kids growing up in downtown New York. Not usually a romantic option, but there's a lot going on here. Nearly every episode we see Helga's Shakespearean monologuing about her true love. It's entertaining and mushy on its own, but every now and again the show pulls out all the stops and moves into genuinely touching territory. Try and watch the Christmas episode and tell me that you don't get at least a little choked up. But even without the Christmas episode, there's plenty of moments where you can see this romance poke through. Not only that, but sometimes it's nice to go back and explore a show from your childhood. This is the cartoon equivalent of sharing a simple but special meal from your childhood. Something like mac and cheese that might not be the most elegant cuisine, but also brings back memories of a very simple and happy time. Number 5, Samurai Jack. We often associate good date night stories as being ones that are romantic, but this doesn't have to be the case. Samurai Jack is a really good cartoon show to show off that cartoons exist for a lot of different audiences and don't all have to be for little kids. Also, not for nothing, but there is a romantic relationship portrayed in the show. The Scotsman has a lovely wife, and the episode revolving around her rescue is cute and hilarious. Also, it's a great moment of empowerment because she is clearly just as capable a warrior as her husband. She could rescue herself, but she thinks she deserves a man good enough to rescue her. This is the cartoon equivalent of taking your date somewhere they wouldn't otherwise go. A restaurant that would slip by their notice, but you're certain that they would enjoy it if they would just give it a chance. Number 6, Steven Universe. Steven Universe is one of the cutest shows on television, and the themes of love and expressions of love run all throughout it. You could start at almost any moment in the show and your time time would be worthwhile. If I had to give a specific recommendation, I'd say watch the first episode or two and then move into the first Steven bomb. Also, this show has some great songs for duet sing-along moments. That's a moment you can share thanks to the wonders of cartoons. There's a lot of ways you could compare this to date night foods, but I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say this was the cartoon equivalent of strawberry jam and biscuits. The perfect food and cartoon combination for the perfect jam buds. Number 7, The Lady and the Tramp. Sometimes things are iconic and overused because they have something really special behind them. If you made a Venn diagram of all the couples on Earth and all the people who tried to recreate the spaghetti scene, you would just have one circle. This is practically a rite of passage, so it's important to get it right. Watching this movie should be seen as educational reference as much as anything else. And while you're at it, watch the rest of the movie too. It's not perfect, but it's a sweet tale about how people from different circumstances can still find love together. It's also a great piece on why dogs are better than cats. The Siamese cats are terrible. They're also racist. Watching The Lady and the Tramp is the cartoon equivalent of, well, sharing a plate of spaghetti. Number 8, Futurama. Maybe you're looking for a cartoon that scales a little bit older. Enter Futurama. Mostly a comedy about Fry adjusting to life in the year 3000. However, every now and again, this show got really touching. Fry and Leela have some really great episodes together, and putting together a set of 2 or 3 of those episodes might just be the perfect thing for a date night. A good rule of thumb is to look for an episode where Fry plays the holophoner, like Parasite's Lost. If you're going for an episode that isn't directly related to romance, you could always go with Jurassic Park. It's the cartoon equivalent of a nice meal out prepared by the great Chef Elzar. Number 9, A Goofy Movie. At its heart, The Goofy Movie is about the loving bond between a parent and child, and maybe a lighthearted comedic romp is what you want for your date night. In that case, The Goofy Movie will serve perfectly well, but there are a lot of light comedies you could be watching instead, so why go for this one? The answer is Powerline, the greatest pop artist who never actually existed. Everyone loves these songs. They're stupid and over the top, but they're so much gosh darn fun that you can never be upset while listening to one of these. This is the cartoon equivalent of Who Cares About the Food? We're Going Clubbing! Powerline is basically Michael Jackson. And last but not least, number 10, WALL-E. Love conquers all. That's what they say anyway. And it's true in this movie. WALL-E is possibly the closest that Pixar has ever come to a traditional love story. It's sweet and it's cheery, but also thoughtful. It wants you to laugh and smile and love its characters and love that they love each other. Even WALL-E aren't the only part of this movie, but it is the one that's the most adorable. The forces of love can even bring heartless automatons together. And if it works for those two, then you and your date are probably going to be A-okay. This is the cartoon equivalent of a traditional romantic state dinner, with subversive satire about consumerism, health, and environmental protection. Thank you everyone for watching our top date night cartoons. I hope that my romantic expertise has been useful to you. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy our cartoon conspiracy on how the Disney princes might not be the best guys around. You might also enjoy our video on every Disney sexual reference, although that is a little bit more forward than a date night cartoon. We have links to those videos right now. You can go ahead and check them out. And remember, Frederator loves you.